Hi guys, Sharon here. I'm just sending you a lesson. As you know, I've recently contacted you by email and we're hoping to continue to do our English lessons every Monday morning as normal in these strange days. So up until we broke up, we'd been covering different elements for the portfolio and we're going to continue with that. And this week we're going to start looking at writing letters, formal letters and addressing envelopes and letters. Okay, so I'm going to send you two worksheets based on this topic. The first one you can see up here, it's called addresses. So it details how to write an address in a letter. So as you can see from the first page here, it starts off with addresses. Each part of the address goes in a different line and you can see it gives an example here. So we've got Michael Jones, 55 The Square, Coolock, Dublin 5. Your address over on the right hand side, the date just underneath, and then Dear Sir or Madam, and so on and so on. If you scroll down then, it gives you some chances to write out your own addresses. So write out the address and date for these letters. So remember, each line of the address goes on a separate line. Okay, so you can try those out. If you want, what you can do is just write them on a separate piece of paper and you can send it back to me if you have access to do that, or you could even photograph it and send me a photograph. Again, scrolling down here, addressing an envelope. So it's made up of the name, street name, area, city or county. And again, it gives you some examples here. So this goes through all the different elements of addressing a letter or addressing an envelope. And again, down at the end, it gives you a chance to write in some addresses on envelopes on the page. Again, you know, if you can't print this out, just get your regular copybook and just write them out. Okay, and down at the very bottom, try not to look, obviously, but there's the answers. Okay, now I'm just going to flick on to a second worksheet here, which is formal letters. So for part of the portfolio, we're going to be writing a letter to a hotel and requesting certain pieces of information from them. So again, this worksheet just details the layout of a formal letter. Okay, so again, it starts with why you might actually write a formal letter. So a formal letter is usually written to someone who you don't know. So it could be a job application, a letter to a solicitor, a letter of inquiry, etc. Again, it gives a good tip here. It's always a good idea to keep a copy of a letter, you know, that you send off. And again, we're looking at the layout. So your address, the date, the name and address of the organisation, your greeting. So again, your greeting in a formal letter is going to be quite formal. It'll usually be Dear Mr. or Dear Mrs., etc. If you scroll down here, so it gives you point by point how to write down the different details. And what I spoke about already, if you know the full address or the full name of the person, you could write Dear Mr. Smith or Dear Miss Jones. Okay, so if we scroll down here, it gives us an example. So again, up here on the right hand side, we've got the address, date written underneath, the name and address of the company that you're writing to. So your address goes up here on the right hand side, followed by the date, leave one line of space maybe in between, and then down and put your name and address on the left hand side, and then the greeting. Try not to use the Dear Sir or Madam. You know, it's a good idea to try and find out the name of the person that you're writing to. And again, then the content of the letter. So in this case, they're just looking to place a personal advertisement. And so it starts off with why you're writing the letter, who you're writing it to, and what you're writing it for, a little bit about the purpose of the letter, and then the close off here. Okay, so it usually gives the details, or you know, how they can be contacted. So for example, if it was a letter of application for a job, you might put your own name or, you know, your availability for interview down the bottom. Again, if you know who you're writing the letter to, you sign it off yours sincerely. If you don't, as in this case, they addressed it to Dear Sir or Madam, so they signed it off yours faithfully. But again, as I said, try and find out who you're sending the letter to. Here is a blank letter guide, so maybe have a go at writing out a letter yourself. So put your own address here, the date, the name and address of the company that you're writing to, the dear whoever, and then the content, and of course your sign off and signature goes down the bottom. And here it gives you some examples to try. So fill in the letter using your own details. Write to Nala. So you're going to write a letter to Nala, and you're asking them to send you a copy of the Read Write Now workbook. So again, you'll be putting your own address here, and it details them with the numbers, the date, down here their name and address, the greeting. And I mean, if you don't know who you're writing to in Nala, maybe make up a name, Dear Mr. Kelly or Dear Mrs. Murphy or whatever. Here's another example asking for an application form. So again, they've put their own address on the right hand side, date underneath, on the left hand side the address of the company that they're writing to. And again down here, replying to an advertisement. So again, it's just an example, an exercise you could try. Write a letter to the manager, Glenview County House, Rathkeale, Limerick, asking for an application form for the position of assistant manager. Again, you'll be starting off with, so it says here you saw the position in the Evening Herald today. So I'm writing with regard to the advertisement I saw for the position of assistant manager in the Evening Herald. So you're saying why you're writing, what the purpose of your letter is, then maybe a couple of lines about why you think you're suitable, and then you close it off with, the number that you can be contacted on or that you're available for interview at any time. So maybe try drafting out one of those letters. Again, down here, there's a couple more. Job application letter and a letter of complaint. So maybe just for today, just try this one, replying to an advertisement, and this one. And again, write them out on a separate piece of paper. If you have the ability to do it, if you can attach them to an email and send them back to me, I'll be quite happy to get them that way. If maybe I can give you a call, we can talk about it. And otherwise, you could, I'm trying to think of different possibilities, you could possibly photograph your work. But again, if you email me and let me know how you're getting on. Okay guys, I'll leave it at that. I'm going to attach both these documents to this video. And again, any queries or questions, don't hesitate to email me. Okay, talk to you again soon.